All right, so in the first episode of this podcast, I said that we were going to have bonus episodes every now and then if there was something else I wanted to talk about, or if something developed during the week that I wanted to talk about, I would have a bonus episode. Or if there was some feedback that I got on this podcast, I would respond to it. And that would be a bonus episode, which I still want to do that. So hopefully you send some feedback in so we can do a feedback response episode. But that's not why I'm here today. This bonus episode is about something that kind of ties into the first episode I did of this podcast, and that is mental health. Okay, so what is this about? Well, I'm going to tell you. It was brought to my attention earlier this week, actually the day I recorded the episode that you heard earlier this week, that there was a radio show host in New York on sports talk radio station WFAN his name is Greg Giannotti, who I didn't even know this. He used to work here in Pittsburgh at 93.7 The Fan, but that's besides the point. Anyway, he went on a rant, a livid rant about mental health after a caller called him having a panic attack last year on the air soft, and anyone who has mental illness soft, and that he should suck it up. I have plenty of thoughts on that, but first I want you to listen to the entire segment here. It's about 5.5 minutes or so, but I want you to hear the whole exchange so you can get an idea. And then I'm going to talk afterwards about what the caller said and what I did not agree with in terms of what he said, and what I didn't agree with in terms of what the host said and did as well. So here's the clip from WFAN in New York, and a disclaimer, no copyright infringement is intended in this clip. I'm just showing it to express what to talk about this topic here. So here's the clip.
Bill in Connecticut, what's happening?
Gio?
Yeah, we're here.
I just left, actually. I'm not here anymore. I'm on my way home.
I definitely agree with you about the woman comment. I'm the father of a daughter as well, but I have to be honest with you in that sometimes you bring the show to the level of these housewife shows with your scuttlebutt and this, that, and the other thing. Some of the soft things you do. In general,
like what? Give me an example. So the most entertaining reality TV franchise you're comparing our show to? And we're in the what? Entertainment business?
No, I agree. You have a great show.
Yeah.
All I'm just saying is, well, the whole thing with the shoes and the socks.
What are you talking about?
For me, when you basically stopped the show because you couldn't.
Yeah, I had an anxiety attack. So, yeah, I had a legit anxiety attack that day, and that's what was going on. So you're taking on that thing? That's the thing you're going to point out? You're going to go to the mental illness bucket and bring that one in now? No, that was a legit anxiety attack. So give me another example.
In general, I think you're soft. You can't keep yourself on since high school. You couldn't keep yourself on a playing field.
What are you talking about? What do you mean I wasn't good at playing sports?
You're always injured. And they show that clip of you running down the first baseline.
Yeah, because I was fat and out of shape and had a bad hamstring. What are you? Like, you run marathons or something? I don't understand. I'm not an athlete. I'm a talk show host. What does that have to do with anything?
No, I don't run marathons.
Okay, so what does me not being an athlete have to do about how I do my job, which is to entertain?
Well, let me ask you a question. Or let me ask Boomer a question.
No, ask me a question. You're bringing it to me. Keep him out of it. Let's go. You have had terrible points so far. You've brought up a panic attack and called that soft, which is complete BS. You're lucky I didn't hang up on you at that point. And you've said that you're soft because you're not an athlete, and you're supposed to be an athlete when you're a talk show host. So far you've had complete and utter crap for your point. So keep talking to me. What else you got?
No, that's fine. But you know what? You could say that from my point of view, an anxiety attack like that. You know what? I'm of the mindset, and I'm probably more from. I'm older than you. You just got to suck it up.
Oh my God! You serious, Bill? You got to suck it up. You know how many people have killed themselves because they were told to suck up their mental illness? Seriously. You know how many people? That's the most insulting thing I've heard all the time. I've gone to therapy. I'm on 2 different medications. I'm trying my best to get through the things that I have wrong with me. And you're telling me to suck it up? I mean, this is why you get a lot of people who go through real trauma that are out in like wars and then come back here and kill themselves because they were told to suck it up because of guys like you, Bill in Connecticut, because I'm soft because I had a panic attack. That's a real thing, man. It's a real thing. If you don't want to believe it, then quite frankly, you're not smart enough or intelligent enough to understand it.
Wow.
I mean, you're soft because you had a panic attack. That's what I've heard. I mean, we have got the most idiotic Neanderthal callers out there. This is not 1945 anymore, man. Women are equal and people have mental illness. Anybody else want to bring on something else? You want to go? Anybody want to call up and knock some black people while we're at it? Let's do that. Hispanics. So we've already taken on women and people with mental illness. What about little people? Want to take them on too today? What are we doing? You're soft because you had a panic attack. It's 2023, man. And that's not going to hurt me anymore. It's not. Tell that to guys like Kevin Love. Kevin Love, who, by the way, in the NBA, suffers from anxiety. He doesn't get hurt. He's not soft. He plays professional sports that live up to your standard, Bill in Connecticut. He's got anxiety. Is that okay? Is that okay? There's people who have fought in wars who have come back way tougher than I'll ever be and have anxiety. Are they soft or are you a dick? You're a dick. We're not soft. Got it? Those of us who admit that we've got issues, whether it be depression or anxiety, and deal with it in our lives to get to be in a better place, are not soft. You, my friend, you are the soft one. You are the idiot, and you are the dick. Get that through your head. The last thing that people are who confront their mental issues to have a better life for them and their families is soft. That's the last effing thing. I'm of the old school. No, you're not. You're an idiot. You're an idiot who hasn't developed.
All right, so let's break that down on what we just heard, okay? First of all, I understand the host's passion for this because every time, and believe it or not, I've heard people tell me to suck it up, especially in my inner circle. I've heard people tell me to suck it up and especially get over it many times. And you do not understand how much that irritates me. It makes my blood absolutely boil. And I could go off on a tangent just like this host did about that very same thing. The caller was very uneducated. He seems like he's very uneducated on mental health. And that's not a good thing in this country. And especially older people. We're talking people like in their 50s and 60s or older who have never experienced mental health issues. We all have, but some have it worse than others. I'm going to make that perfectly clear. But we talked about, as I said, just people are uneducated. There are people out there who are uneducated about mental health, and this caller was truly just one of those kind of people that were very uneducated. Now, we talked about in the first episode how my small town that I grew up in was not very welcoming to people of different backgrounds and different ethnicities. Well, let me tell you about my little town when it comes to mental health. So I'm sure a lot of the people around my small town who I haven't really talked to about this would support me in my mental health event or this journey that I'm taking to better myself and to understand. This is just coming from personal experience, to understand what I go through in terms of my mental health. But I have heard far too many times that I should just suck it up. I should get over it. It's easy. I can snap a freaking finger and boom, boom, it's gone. That's what I should be able to do. No, that's not how it works. It's not how it works, folks. I'm telling you right now, if you've had anxiety and depression, you know where I'm coming from here. When you get told to suck it up, or when you get told to get over it, that is the worst thing you can tell anybody who has anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, any sort of mental illness. That's the worst thing you can tell somebody, to get over it or suck it up, or that they're soft. Because literally, that is the worst thing you can do. This host was right. When people get told that, you know what happens? They kill themselves. That's what happens. And if you can't feel my passion through my voice right now, or through your ears and what you're listening to, then I can't help you. This is just common sense stuff. You can't tell people like me who have anxiety and depression and who suffer through it day after day after day. It's a daily struggle. It's not just something, some days are better than others. Yes, I'm not going to discount that. I'm not going to discredit that. However, telling somebody who has anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, whatever the mental illness is, you can't tell them to suck it up and get over it, because that's just not possible. We need a better understanding of mental health in our country. That is our problem in our society today. This is why I'm so passionate and advocate for this topic so much, because we need more people to understand it. Whether you go through it or not, it's just that simple. You can't just snap a finger and make it go away. It doesn't work that way. People struggle with this. That is why suicide is one of the leading causes of gun deaths in this country. Because of people like this caller on this radio show who seem to have no understanding about mental health. It's a sad reality in our country today, and it makes me sick. Like I said, I can't tell you how many times I have been told, especially by people in my inner circle, i.e. my family, to suck it up and get over it. Those kind of toxic family members you have to ignore. You just have to ignore them. Because those are not the people you want to associate with when it comes to talking about your mental health. Mental health is health. I'm not going to say otherwise, and you're not going to try to convince me otherwise. So I fully understand the passion that this host has and the frustration I can hear in his voice talking about this. And Greg Giannotti, I am with you, my friend. I am with you on this subject. I fully support everything you said in your rant on your radio show, which, by the way, was heard nationally on CBS Sports Network. So this was not just a New York thing. This radio show, Boomer and Geo, which has former NFL player Boomer Esiason on it, is on CBS Sports Network as well. So people nationally heard this as well. And it's been making the rounds on social media over the last couple of days. And I needed to get this out there. Now, as for the host of the show who went on this rant, could he have said some different things? Yeah. Calling him an idiot, calling him a dick was a bit much in my opinion. He was just very uneducated on the subject. And from the sounds of it, he didn't want to learn about the subject, about mental health. And you know what? That's his prerogative. That's fine. But don't call into a radio show and call somebody soft for having an anxiety attack on the air. Listen, I've had anxiety attacks. I've had panic attacks. They're real. They're not fun. They feel like heart attacks. I'm not kidding you. I've sat there and felt like I've had a heart attack before, but it's not a heart attack. It's an anxiety attack and a panic attack. And people are going to say, oh, you're just anxious about nothing. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but that's just the way anxiety works. I don't control it. Okay. We don't control, people who have anxiety don't control their anxiety. An anxiety attack can happen at any moment. You can be having a real good day and then boom, an anxiety attack happens. It doesn't, you don't get to control when you have anxiety attacks and when your anxiety flares up and when it doesn't. Listen, my anxiety is with me all the time. There are moments when it rears its ugly head, yes. But there are also moments where I have good days, and I do have more good days than I do bad. But the anxiety can still rear its ugly head from day to day. It can. It often doesn't, but it can. That's because I'm on medication for it. I'm also on 2 medications, by the way. I want to make that clear. I'm on 2 medications to help my anxiety and depression. If I didn't have those medications, I would be way worse off than I already am. I will tell you that now. And it's, like I said, good on this radio show host for going on this. And people are supporting him left and right. Of course, there are those on Twitter who do see him as soft. Regardless of what you think of his sports opinions, and I don't know this host from Adam. I don't know who he is. I've heard the name. I don't know who he is. I did a little research on him. He's from he's not from Pittsburgh, but he used to work in Pittsburgh at 93.7 The Fan. So he used to work here before he moved to New York. But he, listen, this rant was perfect. When I heard it, and I called him an ignorant asshat caller, I called him an ignorant asshat on social media when I shared this the other day. And I think that's a perfect description because he is ignorant, because he has not learned the subject very well. And that's the problem in our society today, is that if you don't have mental health and you don't understand it, you don't know what it's like. You have to be willing to understand what people go through who have mental health issues like anxiety and depression and bipolar disorder and ADD or ADHD or whatever the case is. Of course, I'm a strong advocate for this. I've been advocating for this since I discovered I had it back in 2015. I've been on this journey for the last 8 years now, and I'm still on this journey, and I'm going to be on this journey until the day that they bury me 6 feet underground. I am very passionate about this, if you cannot tell already. That's why I spent 20 minutes on this on my very first episode of this podcast. And we're going to continue to talk about this for days, weeks, months, years to come, right here on this podcast. That'll be the underlying theme of this podcast, is mental health, because any chance I get to talk about it, I'm going to talk about it, because this is a very important issue that needs to be addressed. It needs to be discussed. We need to be more open in our society about it. I said that in the very first episode, and I will continue to say it. It's just a very important topic. And more men need to be open about their anxiety and their depression and what they're going through mentally. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is true strength, as Jay Glazer says. It is. Being vulnerable is true strength. And, by the way, to that caller, Terry Bradshaw, who's probably a quarterback you've seen in your younger days, because this caller sounded like he was in his 50s. Yeah, he's got anxiety too. So do with that what you will. So yeah, and even he says getting the help you need is critical, and it is. Just having a support system, talking to somebody, whether that be a therapist or a close family member that you trust, is so crucial when it comes to mental health. that could be the greatest thing. And it often is the greatest thing. That's why I wanted to talk about this, because it is so important. And anytime we get to talk about mental health right here on this podcast, I certainly do that. Because, as I continue to say, it's an important topic to me. That's why I talk about it, because I suffer through it and I don't like seeing other people suffer through it. And if I can help in any way possible, I'm going to help. So that's why I talk about it. That's why I advocate for mental health awareness. This is an important topic to me, and it truly means it means a lot, because, like I said, I go through it. So if you have anxiety, if you have depression out there, if you have ADD or ADHD, I'm with you. I'm here for you. And it's a journey that I'm taking to not only advocate for this, but for becoming a better person because of it. I'm using it as motivation to become a better person. The person I was 8 years ago is not the person I was today, and I am truly grateful for this journey, and I'm going to continue to take it every single day. Whew, that was a long one, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you listened all the way through this, I truly appreciate you. So I just want to thank you for listening to this bonus episode of I've Got Something to Say, because I had a ton to say in this episode. We're going to do 2 episodes again next week. Next week, of course, March Madness. I'm going to start talking about that. We're going to have an episode all about that, but not about the games themselves. There's another part of this, another part of March Madness I want to talk about that relates more to our society than anything. I will talk about that next week. And there's another bonus episode I've got next Friday that I want to talk about, or that I want to do, talk about something else. You'll hear that on Friday. But in the meantime, have a great weekend. Enjoy the basketball. If you're watching basketball, like me, I will be watching basketball all weekend long, getting ready for the selection show on Sunday, getting ready for brackets. March Madness is almost here. I'm super excited. March Madness also ties in with my mental health. I will explain that next week. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, like TJT Podcast on Facebook, follow on Twitter at TJT Podcast. If you have any feedback, send it my way via social media, or send an email, tjtpodcast@gmail.com. That's PODCASTS. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you. Take care.